Kristen, you want to start recording?
Yep.
All right, cool. Hi, everyone. My name's Tasha, and I teach people how to sell stuff. I guess we can start. Here's what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about some of your struggles with closing kit sales for doTERRA. I will let you know a little bit about my background in case you're wondering who the heck is this Tasha person and what makes you qualified to teach me how to sell anything. So we'll talk about that, and then I'm going to go over just some definitions, some big picture stuff on that'll help with your understand what closing is, and then we'll really dig into the 5 keys to help you close way more sales. Before we do that, I don't know, Jen, if you want to just share real quickly, why are we even having this meeting?
Right. I'm Jennifer Barnett. For those of you whom we haven't met in person, I know a lot of you lovely faces from Facebook. I'm in most of your upline. We do have a few crossline team members who are joining us today. And I'm mainly built online, only holding a handful of classes. So a lot of one-on-ones and connecting with people through online and Facebook. And many of you may know that what used to work in the past may not continue to work today or in the future. And there was just, I was feeling frustrated. I've spent thousands of dollars on different trainings, different programs, looking for something that really made sense logically, that had a system to it, that kept me organized, was simple, easy to duplicate. Something that made sense so that I'm not thinking, oh, what am I supposed to say next? That logically, intuitively made sense as the next process through sharing oils with someone. And I went through this process with Tasha. I know there are other teams using this system. Missy Garcia's team, I believe you said, went from 400 enrollments one month and using the system 800 the following month. It's easy to duplicate, easy to share with your team, and you can use it in any situation, whether you're teaching a class, whether you are having a one-on-one, if you're online through Skype, if you're bumping into someone who's interested in oils. So I just love it. It makes sense for me. I used it for the first time. I've sent a few messages, but for the first time in person, I used it last Friday. Someone at my gym was looking for oils. So I hadn't immersed myself fully in the script. I mean, I hadn't practiced it totally, but a few key things stuck out in my head, so I knew what to say. I knew the key concepts to share and how to transition into, we're going to talk about making appointments with people. So from Friday to enrolling her Sunday, meeting with her on New Year's Day, we had tea. I simply went through the process. I didn't do a formal presentation, and it just felt so natural, so easy. It put the customer's needs first, which I love. It put, my ego or my needs for wanting to enroll someone second, but it also is confident, and it takes people through the next step and allows them to make a decision in enrolling. And I love everything about it.
Cool. All right. Man, no pressure.
Yeah.
This will solve all your problems for your whole business. Okay, cool. So before we talk a little bit about my background, let's start by just having an honest conversation about what is hard about selling kits to people. So I want to make sure that we can touch on as many of these challenges as possible. I'm planning on spending about an hour just giving you like the best training you've ever had, and then we'll talk about we do have a couple of full groups set up, and I'll tell you about those. You can take the training we do today, and you can you can start enrolling people right away. But if you want to dive deeper and dig into all the stuff, then of course we'll talk about that at the end. So that being said, who wants to be the brave one to tell me what is hard about selling kits to people these days? And if you want to break the ice so that people feel comfortable sharing their real deal, you're welcome to.
Hopefully you guys don't hear my dog barking. I may need to put her in a room. But The hard part of selling kits is when you're meeting with someone and you're sampling them, let's say, which is kind of an old process or a process or a system that most of us learned with doTERRA, heavy sampling, is that people have tried one oil and you're trying to either enroll them in a kit or share the value of all the oils in the kit, because they need more than one oil, correct? Everybody needs more than one oil in their life. So, and it's doing that transition to the closing process where you're sharing, you're taking them from what you sampled them with potentially to transitioning to a kit that would be excellent for their needs. So it's explaining the value and not making it complicated, keeping it simple so that they can easily make a decision.
Right. Okay, cool. So keep it easy. Why do you think it's not easy? Like, what is it about?
Are you asking me, or you want someone to
right? Like, as far as keeping it easy, what do you mean by that?
When people
does anyone here do 90-minute to 2-hour classes?
I have done an hour and a half class before. When a lot of people are new to oils, so when you bombard them with all this information because they need, at least at the very minimum, the Family Essentials kit.
Yeah.
You're overwhelming them, and a confused mind always says no. Yeah. I mean, that's something that Angela has always taught that is stuck in my head. So you want to give them enough information to make an educated decision. You want to provide the value that's in the kits. However, you don't want to overwhelm them. You want to make the decision easy for them to enroll.
Cool. So what other struggles do you guys have with closing or helping people buy kits, making sales?
I think that's the same struggle that I have, but even like with classes, I go over the basic oils, or like if I'm covering a certain topic, then I just go over those oils, and then it comes time to talk about the kits, and I'm like, oh yeah, and this is one that we didn't talk about, but this does this, and this is one that we didn't talk about, and trying to, I even have a hard time with the Home Essentials kit or the family, the Family Essentials kit, because I don't cover all that stuff in like a basic class, because it goes too long once people are like, oh, what does this do? And I have questions about this, and I'm trying to keep it short, and then like forget about, the bigger kits, because it's like when people are like, whoa, my brain's already too full with those like basic 10 oils. And like, I just get a frankincense. How much is that one? Oh, that's expensive.
Yeah, I'm gonna write down one oil plus $35.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, because then it's like, well, if you want to get, you can just pay the $35 fee and get whatever you want. And they're like, 35. I don't know if I want to pay $35 for nothing.
Totally. Yeah, thank you so much, Jill, for breaking the ice. What else?
I always find it really intimidating to ask for the sale. Just feeling salesy makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, what does salesy mean to you?
Asking people for money. And commitment too, I think.
Okay. Would you mind sharing why that is so terrifying? Who else feels that way, by the way? And the rest of you are lying? Okay, cool. So, why is that so scary for you? And thank you so much for sharing that, because I think this is really important.
Well, most of the time I feel like I'm talking to people who are my friends, and I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to turn them into clients or trying to make money off of them.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you for sharing that, honestly. Appreciate it.
Tasha.
Go ahead.
I'd have to say I've not done this yet because I'm brand new, and it's sad that I already have fears, and I haven't had a reason for fears yet.
Sure.
Probably my biggest one is being new. I just feel like I always study the subject for the many years, even the surface. So who am I to tell people what? if I don't know what to do necessarily. I just know it's it.
Sure.
Sorry if my kind of wonk the service.
Yeah, here's what I wrote down, and tell me if this is accurate, because I caught like 2 out of every 3 words. The fear of the unknown, and who am I to tell people what to do when I don't even know what to do?
Exactly. Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. What
Hey,
else?
this is Ellen. So I don't really have a problem with closing per se, as far as like asking for money or asking for commitment. But what I struggle with is the keeping it simple part. Like, I'll teach a class, whether it's a class or it's one-on-one. I get so excited about all these products that I tend to like go into crazy mode, and I'm like whipping out all these oils. I'll bring like my entire box or both boxes of oils because I want them to have all the options, and their eyes just start to glaze over, you know. And I'll always ask, like, I'll give them time at the end, and I'll say, all right, here's the catalog. I went through all this stuff. Here are the enrollment kits. I have that print out for them. I'll say, you know, I'll give them the spiel on, you know, whether they would do an enrollment kit or build their own order. And then I'll say, I'm going to come around to each of you, you know, and talk with you individually about what you're looking for. And I feel like if I could speed that up, so I'm not spending 2 hours, I have never been able to do this in an hour, ever. I just did a class on Friday. I got 4 people to enroll, but I spent like 2.5 hours with the group.
How many people were there?
5.
Oh, that's
Part of the problem was the 5th person was inebriated, and so she kept being very disruptive. But that's a whole other topic.
Well, it's actually not, because I have some thoughts on that.
She was heckling me the entire time. Everything I said, she questioned and was like, just straight up like, I don't believe that. I want everyone to know in this room, I'm not going to do this program. I don't believe any of this stuff. You have to be careful with these oils. And she was like completely drunk out of her mind. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good for you holding it together. One of my coaches, Kasha, only does 10 a.m. classes on Saturdays just for that reason.
Well, that's it. It was a Friday night. She came in that way.
It's literally the only class time she offers is like 10 and 1, just to avoid the drunk people. And in California now, the high people, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
We could probably do one more.
I was thinking, and I feel like for me, it's the fear of rejection too. I don't handle no well. It just hurts me.
Yeah.
I think also one other thing is network marketing and the way people view network marketing. So as soon as they come in, and you know, the first, it's like, is this a network marketing? Is this the pyramid scheme? So I think it's getting comfortable with saying, yes, it is. And really getting people to see it not as we're just here trying to make money, but really we're just sharing a product that I really love and that's working for me. And how can it help you?
Sure. So maybe just some of the negative perceptions of the industry as a whole.
Exactly.
I think that that's a big problem, because like everyone and their mother and their sister are doing some sort of network marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are trying to do it with shortcuts. Would you guys agree with that? Like, how can I do the least amount of work with the most amount of money? But I think we all know deep down that that approach is not going to work in business. I don't meet a lot of doTERRA people like that. You guys are amazing, and I love working with you for that reason, because you're really in it for helping people and doing the right thing. But a lot of network marketers are like before and after pictures all day long, hoping their bank account explodes. And I think that harms the industry. So I think that's a really good segue into telling you a little bit about my perspective and my background, because it's very different, I think, than other network marketer trainers. So I am not a network marketer. And I think that's important, because I'm actually a doTERRA customer. So my background, I started selling knives when I was 20 years old. So who knows Cutco knives?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I started selling Cutco knives in college. I was promoted. I ran my own office. Personally, I've sold over $120,000 worth of sales. My offices have sold almost $1.5 million before I left. Got a real job. Worked in corporate recruiting for the past decade, but it's all like sales recruiting, right? And so about a year and a half ago, I thought, okay, well, I don't want to stay in corporate America in the same job for the rest of my life. So I need to figure out what I was going to do. And so I decided I wanted to teach people how to sell stuff. If I can teach an 18-year-old how to sell a $1,000 set of knives, pretty sure we can get you to sell a $150 Family Essentials kit, right? So my background is in teaching people who have zero sales experience how to sell effectively to people they know and then get referrals, 100% referral business. And so how I got into this network marketing sphere was totally on accident. My friend Catherine, our kids do karate together, and she nervously invited me to a class. And at this point, I had only just started my podcast. I had 5 episodes. I was just tinkering. And I said, well, I'll come to your class if you listen to my podcast. And so she sent me a text the next day and said, okay, well, Tasha, I want to hire you. I was like, okay. She's like, how much? I said, I don't know. And so I went to her class, and it was so bad, guys. Like, it was so overwhelming, and they were so smart. So tell me if this has ever happened to you. You have one person show up to your class, but you have 3 doTERRA reps. Has that ever happened to you guys? Well, that's what I walked into. So I went into this essential oils class. I was the only one, and my kid was going crazy. My 3-year-old was screaming her head off, and it was just a really bad overall, not because they were bad, but because it was super overwhelming. I had never even heard of an essential oil, and my kid was going crazy. And they played bingo too, which I didn't understand why we were playing bingo. So we get to the end, and the thing is when Catherine invited me, we were talking a little bit, and she said, well, this stuff has changed my life. And she's not the kind of person that messes around. And so that was attractive to me. So I showed up. I said, okay, well, I'll start. I got a bottle of Deep Blue Rub and some Serenity, and I paid the $35 enrollment fee. How do you think I felt about the $35 enrollment fee? No. Now, 4 days later, I realized that this was dumb, and I bought a Family Essentials kit. She was so good. She was so awesome. She scheduled a wellness consult on day 6. Well, day 4, I was already ordered. So I ordered off of a one-time order because the LRP was confusing through the website. I mean, I can order on my own, right? I'm a competent person. And yeah, that's how I got into this. So I ended up coaching her. She went from making $50 a month for 2 years straight to making $450 the next month. So then her sponsor hired me. Then Missy Garcia hired me, and really everything's changed. And so I started working with Missy's team, and now I'm working with different leaders and different teams through one-on-one coaching and helping them sell. And what's been really cool is that most of my students will now make sales on 70 to 80% of their first appointments with no follow-up. How does that sound to you guys?
With no follow-up? Is that, like, seriously, is that possible?
Well, yeah, because, like, let's just help them right now, right? Like,
yeah.
So here's my thing.
A rock star, so Ellen could totally take this and
yeah.
I think if I have a good talk track, and that's probably, I'm segueing you at this point, but if I have a good talk track, I can do it, Jen. Like, I did really great this weekend because I had a talk track I created around a specific topic that I knew everyone there was going to be interested in. So I didn't actually bring all my oils out this time. That was different, and that made a difference.
You kept it simple.
I did. I tried. I still was there too long, but anyway.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that today. So here's my perspective. So if you guys are taking notes, here's the first thing to write down. customer first. Customer first, your team second, and then you and your ego third. Right? And because I'm a customer, so ultimately I'm not your upline, right? I'm not telling you to do something because it benefits me. I represent all of the customers who are tired of you unselling us. Like, can I please just buy the stuff? Okay, can we agree? Can you please just sell me the stuff? Right? And make it easy for me to buy. So when you're looking at what is closing, I think that sometimes that can have a really, like a negative connotation, right? I think Karen talked about it, like it kind of makes you feel icky. Does anyone feel, I know some of you guys are totally cool, but some people might feel a little icky when I say the word closing. Like you start having images of Glengarry, Glen Ross, and swearing at people, and coffee is for closers. But here's my definition of closing. So when I'm an unapologetic sales trainer, because I believe, and tell me if you find this to be true, a trained professional salesperson is a joy to work with. Have you guys noticed that? Who are the people that are not fun to work with? The ones that haven't ever been trained, right? And so kind of that's like, to speak to the industry issue, is people are so worried about being in sales and they don't want to be in sales, so they don't get trained. And then they end up being high pressure and pushy because they don't know what to say. So what you're trying to avoid is exactly the thing that continues to happen. If you just learn how to sell, then you'll be a joy to work with. So I'm just going to use that term closing as help someone move forward on an action they already want to take. Okay, so closing is to help someone move forward on an action they already want to take. And you guys do it all the time. Right? When you want your kid to eat a vegetable, you close them, right? When you want your husband to take you on a date, you close them, right? So on and so forth. So you already have a lot of these skills, but we got to stop running away from them, and then just make it really, really easy for people to buy. And closing affects all areas of your business. When you're setting up an appointment, you're closing someone to meet with you. When you're encouraging them to buy a kit, you're closing them on buying that kit. When you're setting up their second order, you're closing them to be a continuing guest. And have you guys ever had a team member not do something that you asked them to do? Nobody here, right? It's because you forgot to close, right? So this is just a communication process. So I'm just going to use that term generally like that. Are you guys okay with that? You feel a little bit better about what I mean when I say closing? Okay, cool.
Yeah, love it.
All right. Another key concept before we get into the actual 5 like tactical things is this concept between proactive closing and reactive closing. So you can jot this down. Proactive versus reactive. Who, other than Sandy, who's been doing doTERRA for more than a day? Okay.
I have.
Do we already know why customers say they won't buy? Do we already know what they say?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
Okay, tell me them.
They don't have the money.
Okay, no money?
They're not sure it's really for them.
Not sure, okay.
They're concerned about allergies or sensitivities with the oils.
Okay.
They need to talk to their husband or significant other.
Okay.
They need time to think about what they might actually want and come back. I've even had someone go so far as to actually give me her credit card information and fill out the whole form except for what she wanted to order. And then I followed up and she never placed that order. Yeah.
Okay. Is that pretty common for everybody? Think about it, talk to my husband, can't afford it, not sure it's for them.
Yes.
Okay. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me every day for the past 5 years, shame on me. Okay, proactive closing, if we already know what's going to happen, we're actually going to build our conversation to address each of these things in advance so they never come up. Right? Reactive closing is probably what you've been trained on. Sample and follow up, sample and follow up, and follow up, and follow up, and then follow up again. And by the way, how about now? No, not now. Okay, how about now? And how about now? What about now? And, oh, not yet. How about now? Right? Or maybe you've heard handling objections. Like, oh yeah, this is only a latte a day. You guys have heard about stuff like that. Now, who likes to do that? Who likes to follow up 10 times to your aunt? No? And who likes to tell their best friend it's only a latte a day? No. So that's not fun, is it? So do you ever even do it? No. And here's a question for you. I'm sure you guys have all had people where you maybe sampled and followed up 6 times and they did buy on the 6th time. Has anyone ever had that? Yeah, okay, cool. And then you ask them, want to do the business? And they're like, oh, so you want me to sample and follow up for 6 months before I make $20? Yeah, sure, totally, sign me up. That sounds amazing. Right, and you're sitting here wondering why you can't add people to your team. Right, because who wants to do that? Do you even want to do that? Who likes to follow up that much? No, right? And so what if instead of that, we just built our conversation to address all of these challenges that you guys have already talked about in advance so that they just buy? And then it's over. And then they're like, oh my gosh, that was easy. I could do that. Right? If they bought a Home Essentials kit in 30 minutes, do you think they might be more inclined to move forward and enroll their own people? Yeah. All right. So, shall we? Okay. So the first tip, so go ahead and jot this down. And Kristen is also putting the stuff in the chat, so you can use that as a place to look and write down the notes. Oh, how are we doing so far? I just want to check in real quick. Is there anything that you'd like me to clarify or any comments that you guys want to make before we move?
So you're saying proactive closing is really just being prepared with a talk track to address right up front the typical challenges that usually come at the end, versus reactive is you're waiting to see what might pop up and, oh, there it is again. Is that kind of?
Totally.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Totally.
Okay.
And plus,
I have a question. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm on the phone.
I can. Go ahead.
Oh, yay! I was wondering. I'm Hillary. I'm just kind of a funny, why does everybody teach it the wrong way? I've been doing this for a couple of years, and it's like all the trainings are just follow up, just follow up, just follow up.
Why? Yeah, that's a good question. I have a lot of opinions on this.
Oh, okay.
I think that the people that are leaders in the industry are so incredibly talented and brilliant that literally anything they did would turn to magic. Right? Would you guys think about the dynamic leaders of your company? Wouldn't they could literally just walk a dog around with a doTERRA necklace and make sense. Right? And they could put an order form on the back of the dog and carry around the thing and just be like, hey, Fido, woof, woof, want to buy this? Right? And they would end up doing it because they're just so charismatic and brilliant and talented. And so what they're doing is they're teaching you what they have done. Right? And I call them magical unicorns. And you might be a magical unicorn on the call. And if you're a magical unicorn on the call, you're banging your head against a wall on why your team can't just do what you do. Right? And you're frustrated because you're like, come on, people. But here's the thing, is a lot of those people, they're teaching what they did, but they don't even know what they did. The principles I teach you, if you're a magical unicorn on this call, you're going to say, oh, I totally do that, but you didn't even realize you did it. That is what I think is the difference. And so for me, I was not a good salesperson. I had to learn how to sell, right? We were given a handbook when I sold knives. I couldn't even make a sale to my mom. So it's pathetic, right? Like, so sad. And so when, like, the difference is, like, I come from a corporate training background. This is not how I sold. This is how to sell, right? And I think a lot of the network marketing training, the perspective is, here's how I did it. Would you guys agree with that? Like, even Jen probably is like, guys, here's how I built my business.
100% I agree with what you're stating right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're magical unicorns. So on their business and sales skills, right, they're like a 13 on a scale of 0 to 10. So it's really hard. I don't know if any of you guys have like seen athletes or managers, just any jobs that you've had, where people are really like, they're the top performers, but they're not very good. Like if you look at sports, right, your best player is not usually a really good coach. And why is that?
Because they just don't know how they do what they do. They just do it.
Exactly. Right. And so I think that's all it is. Do you think that's a fair assessment, Hillary?
Yes.
Hillary, that was your name, right?
Yeah. No, I'm like shaking my head like, oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's it. All right. Cool.
Well, and I just want to say too, I think that makes me feel better because I've attended some of those trainings from some other leaders, and everybody's a little different, right, in their approach. Like you're talking about these magical unicorns that are doing amazing in the business, but they all have their own way that they did it. And there were some people that I was learning from that I just did not resonate with their style. And what they were saying, you just have to do this and then you'll make the money. And I was like, I don't vibe with that. So does that mean I can't do this business? So this is making me feel better to know that that's not the case.
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, I have students who enrolled, I'm going to call Kristen out right now. So Kristen's on my team now. She enrolled more people in 2 months after doing this program than in the past 2 years.
Wow.
I have multiple people who enrolled one person a month for maybe the last year who enrolled double digits their first month after that. So because it's just, it just works because it's about customers, right? It's not about what we did or anything like that. So let's dig in because I'm sure you guys are like, come on already. All right. First key, set an appointment. No more selling on the fly. Okay, so what is selling on the fly? Hi, nice to meet you at the park. What do you do? I sell essential oils. Really, what do they are? Bleh. Has anyone ever done that? Okay, and then what happens? And then they go, oh yeah, let me know. And you're like, can I follow up with you? Yeah, you can follow up with me, and then follow up, right? Why is sampling so hard? So I know that sampling is presented as the easiest way to sell, but I actually think it's a very high difficulty level, which is why the magical unicorns can totally do it, right? Because they're super skilled. But think about sampling. Let's look at the scenarios that happen when you give someone a sample. And Jen already mentioned a couple of them. So worst case scenario, they never use the sample. Does that happen to anyone? And what's that conversation like? Hey, did you use the sample? No. Okay, you'll use it. I'll follow up in a few days. Hey, did you use the sample? No. Okay, scenario number 2 is they use the sample and it doesn't have the effect they expected, or they don't even know. So if I have a really bad cold and you give me a sample of Breathe, am I going to stop using Dayquil?
Probably not.
Am I going to be like, oh, crazy oil lady? Yes. I'm going to totally use this little drops and I'm going to smell it. And I'm not going to use Dayquil, Sudafed, a Z-Pak, or anything else that I've ever used my entire life, just on your word. So what do?
You use both.
I use both. And then you come back and you follow up, and then what happens? I mean, yeah, I guess. But I don't know if it's the Dayquil or if it's the Breathe. Okay, so that's scenario 2. That's happened to you guys? Okay, scenario 3 is the best case scenario. I used the Breathe and it was amazing. And what's their next question?
How do I buy Breathe?
How do I buy this? How much? And then what do you say?
And then you try to segue into a kit, and they're like, I just want Breathe.
Right, and then what else? Wholesale?
Or
Well, you can buy this
wholesale or retail, and the $35, and then the 20-something for Breathe.
Suddenly it's
Okay, so wait.
complicated.
You're telling me it's $55 for this little bottle of Breathe?
Yep.
Okay, well, let me think about it.
Or
Does that
sure,
happen?
just give me your link and I'll get it retail on your site later.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, right? So I think sampling is risky business, right? And some of you may disagree, but some of you, I think, know intuitively
Oh, I'm so
sell
happy.
more when you don't sample.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to make a quick comment. Jocelyn, another upline leader she's who enrolled me. We were chatting last night and we were looking at the statistics of people we have enrolled through samples versus not sampling. We do better enrolling people, not sampling them. She sampled me, but that's a different story. I fell in love with frankincense, but we do better not sampling.
Yeah. Well, and here's what I would argue is the people that you sampled and who did buy would have bought anyway.
Hmm.
Right? So
Oh, I would have, yeah.
yeah, if Jocelyn said to you, hey, Jen, usually what I do is set up an appointment, meet with you for about half, right? She used that approach. Would you have said yes?
Totally.
And you would have bought anyways.
Yes.
Okay,
Right?
but Tasha, let me ask a question on this then, because first of all, I'm loving this no more random sampling because it just never really worked for me either. But what happens when you are connecting with somebody that lives not near you and they've never experienced the oils and you did set an appointment to talk about it? Shouldn't you send them some samples at that point so that you can have a conversation where they actually have an experience?
Hold that question till the end.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you if after we go through the stuff, if they need that. I'm going to challenge you on what you're selling. Are you selling a smell or are you selling sleep? Okay, I want you just to think about that over the next 20 minutes. Okay.
Good one. Okay.
So set an appointment. So what do you say to set up this appointment that we're talking about? Here's what you say. I'm going to go ahead and type it so that it's there. Okay. So it comes up in conversation, right? Wherever. And you say, okay, well, they say, oh, you do essential oils? Yep. And you sell essential oils, by the way. You're not an essential oils educator. Okay. Yeah, I sell essential oils. Oh, really? I've always wanted them. Tell me more about them. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Usually what I do is set up a time to go over your health goals, the most popular kits, a little about the company. My part takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. Is that something you would be open to? Okay, so usually what I do is set up a time to go over your health goals, the most popular kits, and a little about the company. My part takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. Is that something you'd be open to? How do you guys think most people respond to that approach? How would you respond to that?
That was beautiful.
Now, is there anything untrue about that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I'm going to actually break down why this is so effective. Earlier, we talked a little bit about network marketers being the worst. The worst, right? Does this sound like a typical the worst network marketer? Who does this sound like? What if you went to a party and you needed, you were hiring an assistant, you needed a contract, right? And somebody you bump into is a lawyer. Would they be like, oh, let me tell you everything about contracts right here at this party? What would they do?
Set up an appointment.
Yeah, they say, hey, that's a great question. Usually what I do is set up an appointment and we can go over what you're thinking, what you already know, and then we'll see if we can find a contract that works for you.
I was gonna say it sounded like a realtor.
Yeah. It's setting you up as a professional versus the crazy oil lady. Okay. What's also important about this is they're always wondering how long it's going to take. Now, I know Ellen is having a nervous breakdown about the 30-minute commitment, but I'll get there. So if it takes 30 minutes, is that very threatening? We can do 30 minutes, right? That sounds fine. And then what happens when I say you don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, I'll help you order it? How does that make the person feel?
Not obligated.
Yeah, but encouraged.
Yes.
Hey, you want both of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to let people, like, are you going to hold a gun to their head, let them know they're going to buy something? Or make them buy something? No. But aren't they worried about that? Aren't they worried you're going to follow up 100 times?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's what everybody else does. So that would prevent you from getting appointments. But if you say, you don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. It's removing that pressure, but also encouraging them to come ready to buy. And then we'll just ask them, is that something you'd be open to? And then you schedule the appointment. Now, if they say, no, that's not something I'm open to, what do you do then?
Move on.
Stay friends. Right? But sample and follow up doesn't really leave that option, does it? It doesn't leave someone an option to say, no, thank you. It's not my jam. And then that could affect your relationships, and I think that causes some fear and some anxiety and stuff. That's just not necessary, right? I would say most people, gosh, 19 out of 20 will say, yeah, I'm open to that. Sometimes you won't find a time, but it's pretty rare with this approach that someone says, no, not into it at all. And usually that just has to do with baggage, or they have a family member or whatever, right? Like, yeah, and then you can just move on. But now you have appointments instead of people to just follow up with. Good? Any questions on this?
How do you do the 30 minutes?
All right. Okay, so the first part of your appointment. So this is tip number 2. Give an agenda so there are no surprises. So give an agenda. So today, it's just going to be the same agenda you gave when you set up the appointment, right? And you're just going to repeat it. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to go over your health goals, a little about the company. I put that in the wrong order. The most popular kits. My bar takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. Why do you think an agenda at the beginning of your one-on-one or your class is so important?
They know exactly what to expect, and it takes the pressure off, and they can relax and enjoy the process.
Yep. And who's in charge?
You're in charge.
So how many questions do you think they give you?
What's that? How many questions can they? They're in charge because it's led by their answers.
It is.
They're in charge of guiding it, but they're in charge of where it goes next.
Yeah, and well, kind of, right? So when you give an agenda, you're establishing control and trust, credibility, and expertise. So what this does is this decreases the amount of tangents that your people go on because they're relaxed and they don't feel like they have to answer all the questions. Also note, I did not include, and we're going to answer every question you've ever had about essential oils. Okay, and I'll get to later why that doesn't matter. Okay, good on agenda? Okay, The next thing we're going to do is we're going to gain their input. So the next section is called gain input. Do customers care about your story?
No, they care about their own story.
Yeah. But what do you usually talk about first?
But we've heard over and over again how our stories is what gets people really interested and relating to you and the product.
Yeah. So is your story compelling enough for me to spend $300?
It was barely compelling for me to spend $300.
Whose story do I care about?
All right.
My own.
My story, right? Have you guys ever told your amazing story and they glaze over?
I did that at a class, and when that's happening, most people are thinking, I don't have as many health issues as she had. Like, that's a crazy story. Like, that's awesome, but I just need help with my digestion, or my stomach sometimes hurts. A lot of us are health coaches, so a lot of us have incredible, or other holistic practitioners. So a lot of us have incredible stories, but it overwhelms them, and they are comparing themselves to you, and they're thinking, I don't have all these issues this woman had.
Yeah. Guys, be cool. Just be cool, right? When you're sitting there, and I mean no disrespect by this statement, but when you're sitting there talking about this story about how this incredible, like, my fibromyalgia was cured in 2 weeks.
No, you can't say that.
What am I thinking as a customer?
That you don't have?
I don't have that. What else might I be thinking? Come on, let's be honest, guys.
That you don't care?
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. And what do you think that does to your sales?
Yeah.
Right? Just think about some of these things, because, and I'm not like, it's ultimately your decision, right? I'm just challenging you to look at everything you do from a customer perspective, because that's what we're here to serve, right? So here are the 3 questions I would encourage you to ask. First question is, what else do you want to go over today? Okay. Today, what we're going to talk about are your health goals, a little about the company, the most popular kits. My part takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. What else do you want to make sure we go over today? The next question is, so tell me about your health goals or your health concerns or issues. You can add a buffer in there like, I don't want to bore you with information you don't care about.
I did that, and it was awesome. I added that in. I love it.
Yeah. I don't want to bore you with information that you don't care about. So tell me, what are some of your health goals or your health concerns? If you don't like that buffer, another one that works really well is, I want to personalize this whole conversation for you. So tell me about your health goals or your concerns or issues or whatever.
What if you're talking to a group and they might not feel comfortable sharing that in front of everybody else?
That doesn't usually happen.
Yeah? All right.
Scroll through your Facebook feed and you tell me if people are uncomfortable talking about their health issues.
Okay.
I've had people just submit kind of like on a raffle form at the beginning too, and done it kind of anonymously to say, okay, somebody has concerns about this and this and this, so that it doesn't attach to someone. And then people usually do say, okay, that was my thing. I have this challenge. So
yeah, well, a lot of this is kind of a different topic, but it's also the makeup of your class. If it's people that they all know each other, they really don't care, right? If it's just, if you're doing like, if you're trying to invite your sister and then your neighbor and it's a mixed group, that's just awkward anyway. It's going to kill your closing percentage. Just do one-on-ones with those people. So if it's, if you're asking me to host a class, it's 5 of my friends, it's not going to be a big deal. But it's really important for connecting. But so much of it Like, here's the thing. All of your past experiences are irrelevant to this training that I'm covering today because you didn't do it this way. Right? If you, in the past, said, here's what we're going to go over today, your health goals and most popular kits, a little bit about the company, blah, 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 blah. I want to personalize this presentation to your needs and tell me about your health goals or health concerns. And then you have a class of group people saying, I'm not comfortable sharing that, just let me know and I'll help you. But you can't say like that this won't, right? It doesn't, you're comparing apples to oranges if you're talking about what has happened in the past because you're not using these approaches to set it up, right? You're talking about a reactive approach versus a proactive approach.
I just want to say I've given classes to complete strangers that didn't know each other and that I didn't know, and they're still like telling all of their health issues. Like,
Yeah.
So I think usually people are really open about it, especially maybe even more if they don't know people. I don't know.
Sometimes. Well, and who do people like to talk about? What's their favorite topic of conversation?
Themselves.
Right? Even look what happened today. We spent 15 minutes with you guys spilling your guts on how hard it was to sell. It took a person to get you going, right? But after that, it was like, okay, guys, enough already. We got to move on, right? Because people want to talk about their stuff, right? They want you to address it. They don't want to be bored with information they don't care about. A third question is, what do you already know about doTERRA? Now, during this section, all you're doing is listening and taking notes, right? So if someone says, oh, I have sleep problems, you are not saying, oh my gosh, I had sleep problems and I use lavender, blah, blah, blah. Why not?
Because the focus is back on you.
Yeah. Who is
And
this
it's
part
breaking
about?
up the flow of the,
Yeah. Who is this about?
this is about them.
Yep. Right? When they start telling you their health concerns, but if you just said, that's great, okay, I'm writing all this down. What else? What else? When was the last time anyone in your life has ever asked you, really, tell me more? Right? Wouldn't that be different? How do you think that would make your customer feel?
Amazing, listened to, heard, respected.
Yeah. Good. So then you would probably tell them a little bit about your company. I'm not going to teach how I explain the company story. It's pretty ninja, but that you have to pay for. After you go through their health concerns, you tell them a little bit about the company. The reason that last question is there, Kristen, can you put it in there? What do you already know about doTERRA? Have you ever had someone glaze over when you start talking about doTERRA? Okay.
Mhm.
When you say, what do you already know about doTERRA? They usually go, not much. And do you feel yourself physically drawing in? Right. So if I asked you, hey, Jill, what do you already know about Emerge sales training? You might go,
I don't know.
yeah, but now aren't you curious?
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you see Jill's posture? Her head actually come forward? Did you guys see that on video?
Yes.
Okay, so that question draws them in and go, wait a second, I don't know anything about doTERRA. Will you please tell me? As opposed to, oh my gosh, when are you going to be done talking about this? It's so boring. Right? Because it's not about them, so they don't like it. Cool? All right, so those are the 3 questions. Tip number 4. Personalize the features and benefits of the Home Essentials Kit. All right, so here we go, Ellen. I'm going to answer your question. Can you come back to me? Okay. So let's say earlier in when I said, what are your health issues? You said allergies, sleep, and your husband has dry skin. Right? And it's super gross when you hold his hand. Okay,
Sorry.
good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, so now let me show you the 2 most popular kits. Actually, I'm going to pull this up for you. Give me one sec, guys.
What's this step called? I missed that part.
Step 4. This is called personalize the features and benefits.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for this deck to load. Hold on. There we go.
Do you always start with, let me show you the 2 most popular kits no matter what? That's what you lead with. That's really good.
As you get more advanced, I can teach you guys how to do the natural solutions kit. And you do the same thing. Okay, so let me share my screen. Role play a little bit with Ellen. Okay, I can see your face. Okay, cool. So the first oil in your kit is lemon. Now earlier you mentioned you have allergies. Do you ever get that like gross like stuff in the back of your throat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So you just put a drop of lemon in like your green tea and that'll clear that right up, okay? Do you have kids?
Yes.
Do they ever put stickers all over all your dressers?
Yes, actually.
Okay, so this is what you're gonna use to get that off, okay?
Okay.
All right, cool. The next oil in your kit is lavender. Earlier you mentioned that you don't sleep well because you're always stressed out about your business. So this is one that you can put in the diffuser all day, chill yourself out, but it's also really, really good to help you to sleep at night. So you can put it on the bottom of your feet, or you can spray it on your pillow or whatever. This is gonna help you to relax so you can get some sleep. You also mentioned that your husband has really dry, itchy skin. So I would recommend that you use this with some Melaleuca to put that on the skin to just help heal some of that skin. Or like if your kids get a like skin their knee or something, this will help with that. Okay? Okay?
Yep.
All right. Next oil in your kit is peppermint. Have you ever, do you like to work out?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever gone to work out in the morning and you're like, the alarm goes off and you're like, no, right? Does that ever happen to you?
Always.
Okay. So if you just put a couple drops here, take 3 big whiffs, it'll wake you right up. It'll clear up your airways. You're going to be more likely to work out. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing so far?
I am loving the fact that you are not going into every single thing these oils can do.
Okay, so I just covered 3 out of the 10 oils. How long did that take me?
Yeah, probably 2 minutes, if that.
Okay. So what happened there when you were my customer, Alan?
Oh my God, you were like talking to me very specifically about what I am going to use to make my life better.
What did I not do? What's different than what you usually do?
You didn't talk at all about the science behind any of it. Like as you're talking, I was like, oh my God, I need to take out that slide. I'm doing webinars this week. The slide about the cell and the membrane and how the oils are fat soluble and they go in and they do this and they do that. I feel like that's great information, but I'm realizing I'm always trying to prove that these oils should exist versus, you know, just giving them, I don't know, giving them solutions.
Who was mean to you, Ellen?
Who was mean to me? There's a list.
There was a person, wasn't there? who stuck it to you on the science and then they didn't buy and you felt like now that will never happen to you. Right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So one of the first classes I taught was at this corporate job where I work. It's a medical device company. And the quality assurance group got wind of what I was doing and they got me into some hot water with HR. Because they said that I was saying all these things I didn't actually say and that they weren't FDA regulated and all that crap. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that caused baggage for you?
Yeah, it freaked me the heck out. I almost quit right on the spot and didn't do this I'm glad I
Yeah,
didn't quit.
And so now your 32-year-old housewife with a baby on the way is paying.
And having to endure my cell membrane lecture. That's really funny.
So here's a formula for you guys. It's called the 20-60-20 rule. 20% will buy no matter what. 60% will, or 20% will buy no matter what. 20% won't buy no matter what. The middle 60% is up to you. This is how you get to an 80% closing percentage. You will not have a 100% closing percentage. I'm sorry, guys. It doesn't exist. Okay, the 20% that you sampled and followed up with, they would have bought no matter what you did. Hi, Grandma, I'm selling something. Okay, sweetie, where do I sign? Right, 20% will no matter what. The 60% is up to you. Those people were in the 20% that will never buy, and you changed everything for your 60% because of them. Don't do it. Keep it simple. Okay, so did I tell any of my personal stories?
No.
And did that matter to you?
No.
Because whose story matters?
Our own.
Okay, now if I spend 30 seconds to 40, now do you see every time I waited for her head to nod? That's when I move on. So if her head is not nodding, I'm gonna keep going with, here's how you're gonna use it. Right, now those were 3 that she'll use almost every day. Now let's say I get to digestion and they don't apply. What I'm gonna do is I'm saying, hey Ellen, this might not be one you use every single day, but have you ever gone to a football party and eaten half a pizza?
Mm.
And they're like, yeah. Okay, so this is what you're gonna use for that. Because it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Right, oregano, you're not gonna use this one every single day, but when you get the flu, this is what you're gonna wanna use for that. Now, are they gonna remember anything you tell them anyways?
No.
Whether you tell them this much or this much, they're not gonna remember any of it. But on the inside of their flap, all the uses are right there in the box, so they don't have to remember anything. So stop trying to get them to remember anything. All they need to do is buy the kit. If I know about the properties of On Guard, but I don't buy the kit, does that help me? Right, so when my 5-year-old is puking and I'm like, oh man, 3 months ago, someone came over and told me about essential oils. Does that help me get my kid to not puke? I need to buy the kit. Right? And not because you make money and not because it builds your team and not because of your volume or your stupid rank, but because I can't help my daughter if I don't have that stuff on my dresser.
Tasha, can I ask a question here?
Sure.
When they have expressed in the gain their input section that they are suffering from allergy or someone they knew is suffering from allergies, for example, and that's very close to a story that I have with my son, or, you know, there's asthma issues. And so that is really, that totally taps into the story I have that got me into these oils that made me realize, oh my God, there's something to this. And it really made all the difference for my son. Am I not to talk about that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
like
you can, but I just want to challenge you on what is the focus.
Okay.
Right? So I would just go with, you know what, my son has asthma too, that sucks. Right? Use this. This is what I use.
Okay.
Right? Just a real simple, like, be cool. Right? Because when you go like long, like my son had this and this, and you go, watch what happens to their eyes next time. You'll see it.
So he doesn't have asthma anymore.
Okay.
And I've been using Breathe ever since I started using Breathe, and up and through this day, I still use it every day for him. He doesn't have asthma anymore. So that's a win in my book. Can I say it just as simply as that? Or is that too, like, they're going to go, oh, I don't believe that?
I don't think so, because you've already cared about them first.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, your son has asthma, but the thing is you got to be careful on overpromising.
I know, that's the thing.
So
But
I'm
I'm not
saying-
saying it will do that. I can just say that that's the
But
experience.
see, when
I've
you
had.
start qualifying it, now
Yeah.
I'm calling BS. Right? When you start saying, it worked for my son, it might not work for you. Now I'm like, what? Do you see all the risks involved? Right? Telling your story is risky business. It has too many variables for the customer and how they'll receive it.
This
So
is mind blowing.
I
Okay.
personally,
This is why I wanted you guys on this call.
yeah, I personally, like if you look at any professional sales books, not network marketers, professional sales books, I never once read tell them your story. Okay? Now, if you want to do it, there's a place for it. You put it right after the company story and you say, by the way, let me tell you how I got into this mess. And if you want me to explain how to do that, you're going to have to pay and sign up for my course.
And your story can still be your why.
Yeah.
So don't confuse your why with telling everyone your in-depth story. Correct, Tasha?
Yeah. You still have your passion. You still have why you did this. You still have that story. But all I want you to do is think about putting the customer story first. Okay, that's the person we need to care about. And when you tell the story, are you telling with the intention of serving your customer? Or are you telling your story with the intention of serving your ego? Okay, so customer first, team second, you third. So here's the problem with stories. What happens if you recruit a person who has no compelling stories? What if you recruit a normal person?
So our stories are not duplicatable.
Your stories are not duplicatable. So I have my coach, Kasha, she doesn't have like all this drama and she always felt less than in front of the people on her team. Kristen, I think you've shared the same thing, right? Like all these other people have these amazing stories, right? Kristen was mentored by Missy. Missy has this amazing, amazing story about how she couldn't move, right? And this everything. And then her mom, fibromyalgia. And Kristen's like, I'm 30 and I'm fine. And so she's sitting there like, my story's so lame, I can't do this.
Yeah,
That's
I'm like diaper rashes and earaches. Like,
right?
yeah,
So
that's how I felt.
when you're evaluating what you should tell, does this serve my customer? Then does this serve my team? Then does it serve your ego? Okay, moving on. Tip 5. 2 kits. Small or big bottles. Take your enrollment kit flyer sheets with all 10 kits and burn them. Okay. Put yourself in the shoes of a customer who's never bought essential oils. You hand me the kit sheet. What am I feeling?
Too many options.
Overwhelmed with decision.
Overwhelmed, too many options. Sandy, you're brand new, right? Did you see the enrollment kit sheet? How did you feel? You're muted.
My first thought was, I can't hardly afford any of these, and that maybe I'm lesser of a person because I'm going for the family essentials.
Okay.
But
Joy, you're laughing. Did you enroll Sandy?
No,
Why are you laughing, Joy?
my daughter did.
Oh, you got it. What, Joy, why are you laughing? Oh, we can't hear you. Bummer. You're not muted. You should be able. We should be able to hear you.
Maybe she's not connected through the phone.
Maybe.
Oh.
I had that issue. I had to log off and log back on.
All right. So, have you ever had someone take that kit sheet and say, "Thanks, let me go home and"?
Think about it.
About it.
Always.
Okay. So, whose fault is it that they're thinking about it?
Yours.
So, can you just sell me the stuff? Everyone always asks me, why did you buy Serenity and a bottle of Deep Blue Rub and the enrollment fee? Anyone know why I did that?
That's what you thought you needed.
That's what my enroller told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
What if she just said, this kit or that kit? Which one fits better in your budget?
Yeah.
You want small bottles or big bottles? Do they need to go home and think about that?
No.
So 2 kits, keep it simple. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, what if they need the cleanse and restore? You already know that, just tell them.
And Ellen runs a program with Cleanse and Restore and does very well with that. So
Yeah, but don't they need both, guys? Get it together. As a customer, do I only need cleanse and restore?
No.
What do I need?
Everything.
Well, so, and
Family essentials and a cleanse and restore.
yeah.
So tell me that. Like, tell me the truth, right? Is cleanse and restore going to help me when if my 5-year-old is puking on me?
No.
Is it going to help my husband's gross hands? No, it's not. So sell me both, please. I would really appreciate it if you would actually help me instead of worry so much about how you feel. Okay.
Plus I realized was small bottle or big bottle, and I had already been told about diffusing. So I knew I needed a diffuser. So the first thing I did after I bought the Family Essentials was I bought a diffuser, and I could just see my spending tick up right away to the Home Essentials. But I just jumped at the cheapest thing.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's totally cool, right? But I mean, seeing like all those kits is overwhelming. As you increase in skill level, you will want to move up kits, right? But like until you're closing at 70%, don't. All right. So in the beginning, we talked about a
Can
ton
I just
of,
ask a quick question?
yeah, go ahead.
So did you say, so don't sell bigger kits?
Do
Until
sell
you're-
bigger kits once you know how to sell these 2.
And Hillary was that Hillary that just
Yeah.
spoke?
Yeah.
She's one of our leaders, so she would probably, well, potentially, depending on this system, maybe getting comfortable with this, she, and tracking her numbers, might want to consider.
Yeah, so I can teach you guys how to do that in the group coaching, how to do the natural solutions in this format, because natural solutions is 20 plus products. So you're still not going to go one by one.
Right.
You would just start with these are our most popular kits. One is for if you just want to solve your everyday problems. One is if you want a lifestyle change. I'm going to go over both. And it's just a little bit of a different tweak to how you present it. But it's not really within the scope of this free training.
Right.
Yep.
But some of our leaders would potentially want to look into that additional training.
Yeah.
They might feel that they want to look at the larger kits.
Yeah, it's a couple simple tweaks. It's not a huge deal, and we'll cover that.
Perfect.
If you guys want to. So earlier we had these concerns with closing. One oil transitioning into a kit. How are we doing with that? Good? Okay. Keeping it simple and easy and not confusing customers. How are we doing with that? Good. All right. Too long. Your classes are too long. How are we doing with that? Good. Asking for the sale. So what about this, Karen? These are the 2 most popular kits. The Family Essentials has 70 to 80 drops, 5 mils, 150. The Home Essentials has bigger bottles, and it comes with the diffusers, 275. If you were considering one, which would you prefer? I prefer the 275. Okay, great. Well, Karen, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, would you like to go ahead and get this kit today? Could you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you said I can't afford it, then I would say, no problem. A lot of people like to start off with the Family Essentials kit. Would you like to do that instead? It's only $150. And then you still can't afford it. And I'm not going to follow up with you. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? That's no problem. Let me show you this other option that's really good. It's a 5 milliliter bottle of lemon, lavender, and peppermint. They're the most popular out of that kit. It's only $30 and you can take it home today. Does that work better for you?
Holy smokes, yeah.
Okay. So we're good on that one?
So you're suggesting to have that beginner trio kit at home, on hand for the classes.
Mhm. Because everyone can afford that, yeah?
Yeah.
And if they buy that, they'll start using it and then they can upgrade. But if they don't buy today, they're not buying, guys.
So you're suggesting selling at retail and not advocating for a membership at that point?
Yeah, how much are those 3 oils, 5 mils? $25. How much is that fee?
35.
How do I feel about that?
That you're paying $60 for 3 little bottles of oil.
I'm paying more for the fee than I am for the product. Right? And then when I buy my kit next month, because now I'm using it and now I can save up, then I'll be enrolled.
I have a question. So you probably go over this during the presentation, but I have a lot of people, not a lot, but it really, one is like very impactful, but people that go and buy their stuff from Amazon, including somebody that enrolled and has a membership. And I went over it in our membership overview and everything. And she's like, oh, I just went and bought a serum on Amazon because it was cheaper. So,
Yeah.
I feel like if I give somebody the little kit, that they might go to Amazon and.
Not if you're awesome.
Well, I always tell people that you can reseal those caps. You don't know what's in those bottles. You don't know if they're diluting it, if they're putting something else in it. Maybe it's cheaper because they diluted it. Because there's things you can buy to reseal caps.
Yeah, let's not spend a lot of time worrying about Amazon today. It's not, who cares? Like, it's one customer out of how many customers? If you start enrolling 10 people a month, who cares? Like, is it worth your energy to talk to people about Amazons, or can you just set up another one-on-one and sell another kit? And the biggest differentiator is you. It's not your information. It's the fact that you loved on them and cared about them. When you talk about their health goals and you care about them and you say, hey, when your kid puts stickers on your car, do you think they're going to go to Amazon after that? Who does that? Nobody does that. It's because you were just a commodity. You were commodity selling from the beginning. Totally different conversation. Sell on value. All right. Fear of the unknown. Who am I to tell people what to do? Sandy, how are we doing? Good? All right. Keep it simple. Drunk people. Can even drunk people buy in this format?
There is no way I was enrolling her. I wanted to have her go far, far away. She actually tried to enroll, and I said no.
Someone was concerned, like with rejection. How do we feel now?
Not bad.
Rejection people, good?
Mm-hmm.
And then people concerned with industry issues. Does this help?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, so you might be sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I am so sad because I have not been doing this my whole life. So I have a message for you. When I'm sad, I stop being sad and be awesome instead. All right. So here, for those of you that love this, okay, so here's the next step, is to learn the foundational skills of selling and leading with our support. So what makes Emerge different? We talked about this already when Hillary had asked. It's not just what works for me, it's just what works. It's all founded in science, social science, customer psychology. It just works, right? For if you've never sold anything in your entire life, or if you've been selling for a long time. We're not here to sell passive income products. Obviously, I've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes answering all your questions. We're going to actually help you. And our programs are built for people with zero sales experience. So for those of you with zero sales experience, you have a home. You don't have to be a magical unicorn. For those of you with a lot of sales experience, you'll finally be able to train your people who don't have sales experience. So the full program that we run is, here are the different skills you're going to learn. First, getting organized, time management, how to call customers back on time, goal setting, tracking your stats, business stuff. How to set up appointments. So first appointments, people you know, how to set up wellness consults, and all the reasons that people don't show up so that you understand how to serve them better. The sales presentation, which we talked a lot about today, how to craft this one perfectly and all the thought process that goes into it. So it's not just what to do, it's why you're doing it so that you really, really understand the intention behind everything. Did you guys know you could just get referrals and stop hitting on people at the grocery store? Yeah, that's actually a thing you can learn how to do. So when I sold Cutco, $120,000, people I knew or referrals only. Leading and developing your team, how to train them, how to help them to do well. The follow-up appointment, which is basically the wellness consult, so you can get over half of your people on LRP the next month. That's the goal. And then, oh yeah, we should probably start using this format to recruit people. You're going to accidentally recruit people because they're going to be like, wow, that was easy. I can do that. But here's how to actually recruit them, onboard them, and launch them properly so that they don't suck. Okay. Also, in addition to 8 weeks of an online program that you have lifetime access to, live group coaching. So either with myself or one of my coaches will be on live for an hour each week. Based on the topic, we'll answer all your questions. So it's 9 weeks. You have a Facebook group so you can be involved in challenges to help you to implement and learn as you go through. So we have a live component because we're going to actually help you. Just some testimonies. This is just from a couple weeks ago. Love the new script. This is from just this training. I caught up with an old friend, enrolled her from one of my Facebook parties. She got a home essentials kit. She's going to host a Facebook event. Already have her next call for LRP and referred 2 people in 35 minutes. Boom. This is one of my students who's been through the program. Closing rate went from 87% to 100. Average order went up, but she was meeting with 2 to 3 people a month and now is meeting with 8 to 10. So went from like 1 enrollment, 1 to 2, to 7 to 8 per month. And so now you're thinking, oh my gosh, this sounds so amazing, but I'm freaking out because this is going to be so much money. But it's not, because we're just real people who want to help you. So nobody laughed at the meme, by the way? You don't think that's funny?
I saw that meme in our group. Kristen posted it this morning.
I didn't realize you had this one. Mine's a little different, but it's the same.
Yeah. Okay. So there's 2 options for you. I found the picture of your duck shirt.
That was from April.
So I thought since I was wearing my duck shirt today, I would put that up there. So there's 2 options for you, just kind of depending on where you're at. The reason that we have them split out is we just want to create a safe place for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're silver or above which group you go in. I recommend you stay with your team. Okay, so wherever the majority of our team is. So we have 1 group, and this is for any silvers and above that are part of Angela Villa's team, which includes you guys. That starts next Tuesday morning. So for all 8 weeks of the online course, lifetime access, plus 9 weeks of live sessions, it's $297. Or you can split it up into 4 payments. And I don't like charge interest because that's not cool. So yeah, there's that. And then if you are, for anyone, and this is for all ranks, it starts the 17th. So if you're a diamond and you want to be with your team, you walk, like go with your, like it doesn't matter which group you go in. So then that starts on the 17th at 12:30. And same price. And then one of the concepts I teach, oh shoot, I can't move this thing. Anyways, I have like all the pictures like right on top of what this says. So basically, one of the things I teach is a first appointment special to help create urgency so they buy that day instead of waiting till later. So I'm going to give you guys one too. So if you sign up today or tomorrow or Thursday, then I'll give you 25% off your first payment. So if you pay in full, it's $297, but you'll get 25% off the $297. If you want to do the payment plan, that's totally cool. We want to make sure it's affordable. It doesn't freak you out. You'll get 25% off of your first payment of $75. So all you need to do is, if you go to emergesalestraining.com/GenBteam, you'll see the PowerPoint. There's a link here. Click here to download the PowerPoint. There's a podcast on how to host big classes, because I'm sure you guys are thinking about how to adjust this. All the details, and then you'll see the links right there. Okay, click here to register for, so this one or this one. If you want to, if you hate people and you just want to do your course online on your own, you can do that as well. But you'll have a higher completion rate if you do it with people.
And Tasha, you will also have a link on this page for the notes from this webinar.
I will. Click here to download a copy of my notes for this training.
Mm-hmm.
I did tell you that earlier because I wanted you to take notes.
I figured that. I was going to mention it, and I thought she wants everybody to take notes. Also, the PowerPoint Tasha was referring to is the doTERRA PowerPoint that she was going through with all the oils, and then it shows the kits at the end. So you'll have the link to that.
Yeah. So this just goes the kits at the bottom.
And I just wanted to share that I used the tips shared in this webinar before I learned anything from her training. And that led me to talking with someone Friday and enrolling them on Sunday from this actual webinar and the information provided here. I have since joined the training and gone in depth. I've actually gone through all 4 weeks yesterday, and the information shared is incredible, and it's only going to take me deeper through this process and become more skilled with this training. So I'm excited. I love it.
Cool. So what questions do you guys have?
Tasha, just some understanding. So it's 9 weeks of live sessions. Is it daily live sessions or weekly?
One hour a week. So what you'll do is you'll watch the videos for that week, and whatever questions and stuff that come up or scenarios that you want to go over, you'll just post those, and then either myself or one of my coaches will go over it with you.
And you said that the one for less than silver ranks is at 12:30 Pacific time?
Yeah, everything will be Pacific.
All right, so it's 3:30 my time.
Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Connecticut.
Cool.
And I work a full-time corporate job, so I'm just trying to figure out how can I make this work.
Oh, yeah.
The trainings are all given, you get all 8 weeks. So if you have time set aside for training, it's not.
But she's trying to talk about the live. So we'll do the recordings. Yeah, you'll have all the recordings as well.
Yeah.
And you can post your questions in there. But maybe we can talk offline and see if the other one you can do on your lunch break.
Okay.
Kind of based on where you're at.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that, you guys are being taken care of.
Yeah. Okay.
We just want to. Diamonds have different questions than elites. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really want to.
Yeah. So we just, a lot of the questions in one group are about how do I teach my team, and then the other are like, I've never sold anything in my life.
Yeah.
So it creates just a better experience for each person based on where they're at. But it's not a huge deal either way. I just don't want you guys to get overwhelmed if you're like a manager, a director, or an elite, and then you have diamonds coming in here saying, I want to sell every oil kit, tell me how, and I will tell you how. And then you're going to sit, people are going to sit there and go, what, right? Like that's the only reason for the split.
It's not out of the question to do a 3:30. If it's once a week, I can try and block it off in the calendar.
Yeah.
And then the 4 payments of 75, that's monthly payments?
Yep.
And the 25% off, the first payment still applies even if I break up the
Yep.
monthly?
Yeah, it just won't be on every single one.
Okay. And then how can I get my team engaged in this? Because none of them came on the call today.
Oh, no. Okay, so you can give them the replay. So Kristen's going to email you the replay a little later.
Okay.
This Saturday, we're doing a 3-hour closing workshop, which will actually, Kristen and Kasha will be walking people through writing their presentation. And Jen, I don't know, I thought you were out of town, but I think you're doing that anyway. I don't know how
I'm going to be in Vegas, but I'm 9 a.m. to noon. I am going to be on that training. I'll just be in a hotel room in Vegas. So
Yeah, and that one's $27. So if you can use your mad sales skills that hopefully you have now. So here's how you do it. You don't tell them, oh my gosh, I love this training. It was the best thing ever. Let me tell you my story.
Which is what I would do. Come on.
First, okay, you say, hey, what are some of the problems you've been having with your closing? And then they'll be like, oh, wah, same things we talked about. And you say, hey, I was just on a training where they talk about this, which will help you with this, and this that will help you with this, and this that will help you for this. It's only $27.
Okay.
And you can use the code GENB for 25% off until Thursday. Right?
All right.
What other questions you guys have?
Tasha, how often do you run your classes? Because I'm enrolled in another program starting the end of January, and so I don't want to be unrealistic as to how much I can take on.
We'll do an open group like once a month. So what I can do, Kristen, can you jot down Linnell's name? I can send you the 1:30 group link.
Okay.
Was that a better time frame?
Well, the one I'm starting, it doesn't start till the end of January, and it goes for a month. Yeah.
And it's 1 month?
Yeah.
What I would recommend is if you want to take advantage of the discount, because it's a lot of money, it's like $80, is we can connect you with Kristen, and then what we can do, if you want to just enroll in one of them, we'll just move you. We just haven't created the groups that far out. Or you can just grab the online only now, right? That'll take most of it, and then it'll just be a $100 upgrade whenever you want to start the group.
Okay, and so the online only, how long do you have access to that? I mean, my preference is to participate in the group though versus online, because I know myself and I do better with the online interaction.
Yeah, so once you're done with that other program, just email Kristen, and then we'll just upgrade you into a group, right? That way you're still saving money. Okay. So maybe if you guys just want to connect via email later today, Kristen, can you help her figure out what's going to be best? We want to make it easy for you to buy. When you register, you have access to all the online content right away. I think that's important, right? So if you're like Jennifer, who's a binger, yeah, there's no good shows on right now yet anyways. You have 2 weeks before the shows come back. So
my son went back to school today, like most of us. Our kids probably went back to school. Yesterday, I binge trained. What I love about it, there's handouts in there. I printed out, look at this. I printed out everything. I've gone through all 4 modules. It's short videos. So people who are visual, there's videos, there's handouts, there's the MP3. It's you need to listen to it while you're doing something else. Obviously, you want to focus and write notes. And then she has action items at the end. So it's all the things that I personally need in a training.
yeah, winning. Corporate training, yay.
So Tasha?
Yeah.
Being the newbiest of the newbies, would you recommend the 117 training for me with Kasha?
100%.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm just afraid that, I'm not going to understand half of their language. So
yeah, for sure.
For sure. With everybody I know or kind of know. Okay, that's a good question. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
What other questions do you guys have? I just want to note that Jen makes $0 for having this call. Except for all the
I was going to say that, but I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, sometimes
I'm
that
not
gets
profiting
confusing.
from this training at all, other than I want you to be able to enroll more people, feel more confident, help more people.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta run, you guys. I gotta get back to my other job here, but thank you
Ooh.
so much. I'm signing up, Tasha.
Cool. Well, don't worry, Ellen. We create quitters here.
That's the plan.
I need to learn how to not talk so much and listen more. So I'm hoping you'll help me with that.
Yeah, we're creating quitters. So next year, hopefully, you won't have these same time constraints.
That is our plan, right, Jen?
Yep, that's the plan of 2017.
That's my intention for this year. Work more strategically, not more, period. That's my goal.
I love it.
We'll make it happen.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
Bye, everybody.
Any other questions? I'll hang on for a few. If you guys have any more questions. Good.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
So if I think of something like later, because I'm just in mommy mode right now,
Yeah.
is there a way that I can follow up with someone?
Yeah, so if you enroll in the group, you'll get access to the Facebook group right away. And then you can start asking questions right now.
And that fee, now you were talking about being on teams and stuff and staying with your team. So is that each person is paying that $275 or is that $275 for the group?
That's for each person.
Okay. Yeah, sorry if you covered that before and I just didn't.
No, it's okay. You got to take care of the baby.
Yeah.
You got to take care of the baby.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jill.
It kind of went fast, but the thing on Saturday, what is that?
That's just a live. We're going to teach you how to do your whole presentation.
Okay.
It's like an intro thing.
Okay.
I mean, it's a teaser, right? Yeah.
So if I take the course, do I need that, or is it covered in the course?
It's
too?
covered. All the content is covered in the course. But if you want to be able to ask a lot of questions and get that engagement, then like different topics come up. Like Jen, you've been on the same call twice.
Yes.
And different topics, and you probably were taking notes on different things.
Yes, and I'm learning about my team and Crossline and Upline and what their needs are, and that's helping me be a better leader. Jill, I do this training that the Sales Foundation training, Direct Sales Foundation, I think is what it's called, and I'm also doing the sales presentation training on Saturday. It goes further in depth and you can customize it. You're on for 3 hours on Zoom and you can customize your presentation for your needs. So it goes into it in weeks, I think 3 and 4. Is that correct, Tasha?
Yeah.
So you're going into it in this training, but if you want more one-on-one focus with Tasha and Kristen and her team, then you can go further into depth. And I thought it was a no-brainer for 27.
Yeah, it's cheap. So that's the point. Is what I would recommend is if you're not sure if you have a few people on your team, be there with them so that you can help them move forward, because you're their leader. I'm not their leader.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something to understand. But Kristen, you've been on every group call I've done the past month and you're still she's still learning stuff. So I guess it all just depends on what topics come up, right?
So Tasha, can you? I'm occupied on Saturday, but if I wanted to buy the training, would it be recorded?
It is. It's recorded.
Okay.
Yep.
And Tasha, you said earlier that they can use the code for that too.
Yep.
They do it in the next 3 days.
Yep.
That'd be 25% off of the 27. So don't forget if you go get it.
Yeah, it's really fun to do manual refunds for $4.
And registration is on the same page?
That one, I don't think so. But I
put it in the chat.
I can add it to the Gen B team page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that. I can add that one. But it's not going to teach you how to get referrals or how to train your team and stuff. So
right.
If you're looking at investing in one training right now, it's the Direct Sales Foundation training, which is what she shared about on this call. And if you can't invest in that right now, take what she gave you, start that process, start enrolling more people, start increasing your sales percentage, and then take those proceeds and invest in the, going further into depth in the sales foundation training.
Yeah, for sure. I had one person on this call that just from the free thing before she started the online course enrolled 6 out of 7 people that very week. Just from this. And I'm not saying like don't enroll in the big program, but just imagine 8 times what we went over today, what that would do to your business.
And I'm guessing that this program could maybe work for, the whole process here could maybe work for people virtually as well. Like if you want to set up a meeting for someone over Skype, because it's not really like smell this oil and whatever. It's just like talking to them about the features and benefits.
Yeah, for sure. So the only 2 people I've enrolled myself, I did over the phone. And like I had to test the content, right? So I called a few friends. I sold them kits. But yeah, enrolling over the phone because customers don't care, right? It comes back to you're not selling the smell. In fact, oregano is disgusting.
And Jill, she goes into, I just went through that training yesterday. She goes into the different ways you're connecting with people or people are talking about oils or referrals and how to just slightly tweak this for each approach, or if you're having a Skype call or what have you. So I love that this foundation you can use.
Yeah, because you can use this to sell someone a kit on an airplane. You can use this to sell someone a kit over the phone. You can use this in any way because customers don't hear about. Some do, right? There's a small percentage that do. And you might have to work harder, but for the most part, it's like, just tell me what I need to know. Right? And you can't tell me what I need to know until you know about me. So learn about me, talk to me about stuff I care about, and then I'll do what you think makes sense and what fits in my budget. And that's really simple. Go ahead.
I'm particularly happy to hear that because I live on a ranch and and the horses are tired of me talking to them, but I live like 70 miles away from a person. And so it's neat to know that you can do this and you don't need the smell and you don't have a whole bunch of spread out in front of the table that entice people. It's just one-on-one. You're talking to someone who you care about. And with me, in most cases, it'll be perfect strangers, and then get referrals from strangers. So this is cool because that's always been something I've been concerned about is I have no one to talk to that doesn't have 4 legs. So
yeah,
this is cool.
Yeah, and I mean, like, your friend from college in Michigan, that's a person too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And like like these people that that live more than 5 miles away from you, they're people too. So help them.
Mm-hmm. True. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions? Kristen, do you want to share your experience with selling over the phone?
Yeah. That has been probably my biggest sales. So I've sold 3 home essentials kits over the phone while I was doing this training. And 2 of those were referrals. So people that I didn't know and had never sampled, obviously, and obviously didn't have the oils in front of them. Yeah. And those were all, I remember that just being a total whirlwind. Actually 4, because I got that one on the very last day of the month that made me hit silver. So I've sold 4 home essentials kits over the phone. It's been crazy. So just staying true to the script and trusting the process of the fact that they didn't need to have the smell. Because at first it was weird, like, how am I going to do this? And I just did it, just going for it and trusting that my script was legit. So yeah, it was pretty crazy experiencing that for the first time. Kind of cool.
You're just going to have to try it.
You just have to try it.
call that person that's never been able to meet with you because they're always so busy and they don't have babysitting, and just try it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, what? You could just do it over the phone? Yeah, sounds good. Like if I were selling, I would just go 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, all over the phone. Then I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to set anything up. I can just walk them through on the computer.
I'm a single parent, and in the 4.5 years that I've been with doTERRA, I have done it mostly one-on-ones through Skype, through people I've met on Facebook, networking, referrals, also local friends and family. But it's been amazing. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can make it happen.
Yeah.
And of course, if you teach classes, it's going to work for you too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the modality, it's about the customer. All right, I need a snack before my coaching call.
Thank you, Tasha, for your time. And Kristen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I checked because I'm a salesperson. I have to. We already have 3 people signed up from this group.
Beautiful. Excited for our team's success in 2000.
Oh, what are you guys waiting for? Come on, come on, come on.
Snack.
Go get a snack
Awesome.
and then register.
Okay.
Everyone have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.